For an average in high school, I think was at 3.637.
Okay.
Largely affluent. There were members of working class families there on scholarship. There was a pretty hefty scholarship program there while I was there, and it's increased since then. But I would say probably 80 to 90% more affluent, and then the rest were there on some form of financial aid. I was very close to my teachers. That comes from living with them, boarding school atmosphere, and also the small class size lends itself to that as well. So I had a lot of one-on-one time with teachers as coaches, as mentors, as dorm parents, as whatever they were. And I think boarding school did allow me to have that close relationship with my teachers, and I think it helped my academics very strongly. Yeah, I had a few that were my personal mentors. And they were able to kind of help you along the way, both academically, socially, and whatever you needed from them. You've got a lot of NESCAC schools, like Bates College and Colby, little Ivies like that. Mm-hmm. Got a fair number in the Ivy League, and then a fair number of institutions like this, where they're pursuing a specific track, like television, like journalism, things like that. Very few did not go to college. I think actually 100% of my graduating class went to college. But like I said, like any graduating class, it's a mixed bag. Mm-hmm. My high school experience prepared me incredibly for college because that was what it was intended to do. Mm-hmm. I lived there, so I no problem transitioning to living in a dorm room with a roommate. No problem studying on my own. I was accountable for myself since freshman year of high school. Things like that. I had no issue with bad roommates, and because I had the whole gamut in boarding school. And further, it was very academically rigorous. It was an academically rigorous environment, and I think that rigor allows you to take anything in college in stride. So I grew up in a Wethersfield, Connecticut, which is a suburb of Hartford, Connecticut. It's a very historic town, so I guess you could call it a suburb. But most people that live in Wethersfield work in Wethersfield. So it's not necessarily a commuter town where they bus to the city, all the employment. But it is a suburb of Hartford in that it's a suburban area attached to a larger city. What it was a small school. So you were held accountable for everything. It was a 400 student school. Every graduating class was around 100 kids, maybe a little bit more as you saw with my class. And the thing is that you were held accountable to go to everything. Everybody knew everybody. Everybody knew who was there and who wasn't there. And if you weren't there, no matter what it was, whether it was student government, whether it was theater, whether it was SAT prep, like you said, or whether it was anything, they would go up to you and say, hey, I didn't see you at the Young Democrats meeting. Why don't you show up to the next one? Or I didn't see you at the Green Club meeting. Why don't you come to the next one? So you were always held accountable. So it made you very well-rounded just because it was such a small environment that you almost had to take advantage of everything, or else no one would be at anything. You know what I mean? You were mandated to have a laptop. In 90% of the cases when the families were affluent, the family would just foot the bill for the laptop. But if you couldn't afford it, or for whatever reason, the school provided a laptop program where you'd get the laptop at a discount, and they'd also subsidize some of the payments on the laptop. So they would, I think, pay for 75% of the laptop, or maybe even 80% of the laptop. So every student was able to get a laptop, whether he or she could afford it or not, and you were mandated to have one. Everyone has a college advisor. There's a whole college advising department. There's the college placement department, and every student gets one college advisor that he or she will work with personally, and then they obviously have the entire department as a resource additionally. And what the college advisor and the student do is they really find the college that fits the student, fits what he or she wants to do, fits the environment that works best for them, and then work accordingly. And that obviously is an unbelievable resource, because I would have never found here. Some of it is on scholarship.
Okay.
There is a fair number of merit-based aid, not as much need-based, but merit-based aid for me. And then additionally, my family pays for the remainder. If I went to public schools, would things be different? I'm not particularly sure. I've never been to public school. I went to private middle school as well. What I can say is that I don't necessarily think I would have gotten that experience fending for myself and living on my own, and public school doesn't offer that.